What's happening, everybody? It's me, Crazy Frankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my NFL playoff AFC NFC Conference Championship picks. Before I talk about both conference championship games, obviously a little talk from last week's divisional round. Well, of course, there was only two main headlines that came out of the divisional round. Was, of course, the Dez Bryant catch, and of course, what happened with Peyton Manning and the Broncos. Well, let's quickly talk about. I want to quickly get my little review and thoughts out of the way before, because I want to talk about the conference championship games here. Now, if you're going to ask me, was that a catch did Dez Bryant make that catch, and that should have been a touchdown? It's really tough to say now, because I mean, there's so many. If you look at that replay, so many times of that catch. I mean, it's hard to say, and the rules state that you have to have full control and not make so many athletic movement to maintain a football catch. I mean, it's very split down the middle, and there's a lot of opinions. Everybody's got an opinion about that. If you're a football fan, it's tough to say. I mean, it did look like a catch, but by the rule book, yeah, it's really. I mean, the rule says that it wasn't that he had a little bit of athletic movement on that catch, and it basically hit the ground and it was incomplete. But for me, I'm not too fond of the Dallas Cowboys that much. But if you're gonna ask me, was that a catch? I kind of say it sort of was. It sort of was a catch. But like I said, there was a little movement, so it was really hard to distinguish that and debate that whether that really was a catch or not. And now the Cowboys got the other. I mean, for 2 weeks in a row, the Cowboys were under a lot of controversy going back to that game against the Lions with the penalty, and then this one against the Packers, but this time going against them in terms of a play. Yeah, it was kind of hard to distinguish. I mean, look, the Cowboys had a very good season, but unfortunately, Green Bay just played better in the second half. The Cowboys had them by the jugular, and they didn't go for the kill in the second half of that game. So yeah, I mean, so it's really tough to say with that catch. I mean, you could say there's controversy in that, but pretty much I have to say it was sort of a catch, but unfortunately it was just not meant to be, thanks to the ruling by the referees. And of course, going about the Broncos and Peyton Manning, it was really tough to see Peyton Manning lose the way he did last Sunday against the Colts. And kudos to the Colts last week. I mean, their game plan against the Broncos worked out perfectly, because the Broncos looked like they weren't even in the game last week. That really was kind of shocking. And of course, the news came out that Peyton had torn a quad. And that was a major factor. So yeah, I mean, look, I picked Denver last week, and I thought through all that, I figured they would escape that game with a victory, but apparently they didn't. Give kudos to the Colts. They played a much better game than the Broncos did. And look at where the Colts are at now. They're in the AFC Championship game. As far as will this be the end for Peyton Manning? Well, look, John Fox is gone. Jack Del Rio now is going to the Raiders. So yeah, things are starting to fall apart in Denver now. And I know John Elway wants Peyton Manning back, but I don't know. It's tough to say. Well, look, I said a couple of things on Twitter that, we might have seen Peyton Manning's last game, in all honesty. And I might stick to that. I think this might be the end for Peyton Manning. I think he might call it a career here, especially with the injury factor. I know he's getting close to his 40s, but unfortunately, he's done all he could in the league. I mean, he only has one Super Bowl championship, which is still a good resume, and for sure he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. But if you're going to ask me that, I think he should retire. I really think so. And that's basically all I have to say. I really love Peyton Manning. He's really one of my favorite football players in the league. I mean, I grew up watching him, along with a lot of other NFL stars that I do admire today. But he's really a class act all the way, in my opinion. And this is a guy, he's a for sure first ballot Hall of Famer, no question about it. But anyways, let's now talk about the Final Four in the NFL playoffs. It's championships. It's championship weekend. Championship Sunday coming up. Conference championships. Let's begin with the AFC Championship. Colts at the Patriots. Patriots 6.5-point favorite, and I agree with that. As much as I say, if I gave a lot of kudos to the Colts and their big victory against the Patriots, I'm sorry, with the Colts. Sorry. A little bit of a brain fart there. No, a big victory against the Broncos last weekend. This is a team that will be a Super Bowl contender. There's no question about it. Andrew Luck is a Super Bowl ready quarterback, but it's not going to happen in this game. The Colts are lucky they have made it this far. They've gotten to the conference championship now with Coach Chuck Pagano and Andrew Luck. And really, it's going to be determining. I mean, if the Colts can somehow make it a game, no question, there wouldn't be shocking in the next few years that they will be back to the conference championship, possibly to get to the Super Bowl. But as long as the Patriots are there, as long as Bill Belichick is the coach there and Tom Brady is still the quarterback for that team, for this game here, there's no way the Colts are getting past the Patriots here. The Patriots offense has never looked this healthy in years. And there's no question that I see them winning this game big time. Will it be a blowout? More than likely it might be a blowout in this game. The Colts just doesn't have enough. They don't have enough offense, and their defense is at average. And I just don't see them putting chess pieces together and stopping the Patriots offense here. There's no question that the Patriots offense haven't been this healthy in years, and it's big. I don't see the Colts defense stopping Gronkowski. He was a beast last week against the Ravens, and there is no way the Colts are going to be able to stop this Patriot offense here. There's no question. You got to go with the New England Patriots here. If you're a Patriot hater, I'm sorry, but there's no question they are going to the Super Bowl. They have too much offensive weaponry, and there's just no stopping them. There's just no stopping them until Super Bowl, and then depending on who their opponent might be. But it's pretty much, this is your lock for this weekend. Patriots are going to beat the Colts easily in this one. I don't see the Colts don't have enough offense, and their defense is not ready to match up against this Patriot offense here. No question. Patriots over the Colts. The NFC Championship game. Packers at the Seahawks. This is the game of the weekend right here. No question. Even though this one's the first game. This is the first game of the Championship Sunday because it's an afternoon game. But there's no question. I expect this game to be close. No question about it. It will be a very close game. Chances of it going to overtime, I don't think so. This will be a 4-quarter game, no question. But let's look at a couple of key factors here that could be for the Packers here. Obviously, the factor right now is Aaron Rodgers' health. He was playing hurt. He's been hurt for the last few weeks, and with no time off now, since he was lucky to get that luxury of that first round bye against the Cowboys. There's no luxury now, and especially you're going into a very hostile environment at CenturyLink Field in Seattle, which is basically one of the loudest stadiums in the league. And there's no question with the way the Seahawks defense played against the Panthers last week. No question Green Bay's offense is going to have their hands full against this unbelievable defense Seattle has. Now, Seattle did kind of struggle in the first half of that game against the Panthers, but their defense and their offense pulled it away in the second half, which I expected it. And now this is their toughest test against the Green Bay offense here. Can they put their chess pieces together against that offense? Because you got to remember, the big factor here is if with that injury to Aaron Rodgers that he has, and his mobility, can he run out of the pocket? And with the way Seattle's defense has played in their last few games, they're scary. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is going to have to basically get rid of the ball quickly. But now the question remains going on the Packers' defensive side. Can they stop Russell Wilson if he runs out of the pocket? And can they stop Marshawn Lynch in the running game? See, those are your factors here for this NFC Championship game here between these two teams. And of course, they met in Week 1, the opening week of the 2014 season, and Seattle basically blew them out of the water in the second half of that game. So, this game will change a little bit more going into this one. I expect it to be a much closer game. But I see Seattle pulling away in the second half here, just like they did last week against the Panthers here. The Packers will definitely make it a game. But come down to the fourth quarter, I like Seattle. I'm going with the Seahawks here. I believe they will go back to the Super Bowl here. I just think with the injury to Aaron Rodgers is the big factor here. If he's going to have trouble running out of the pocket here. And he has to rely a lot on Lacy for the running game, and Seattle is pretty much going to be ready for that. There's no question. Seattle's offense now is going to be quite a handful for Green Bay's defense to handle here. And I just think pretty much if you're going into the fourth quarter here, I like Seattle to win this game here. I think to me a late touchdown for Seattle pretty much will seal the game right there. I like the Seahawks in this one here. There's no question that I give more of an edge to Seattle here. And like I said, CenturyLink Field's a hard place to play. The 49ers knew last year they couldn't beat them in last year's NFC Championship game. I just don't see it here in this one here. There's no way the Packers are going to beat Seattle in this one. They'll make it a game, but I see Seattle pulling away in the fourth quarter here. You got to go with the Seattle Seahawks here. Seahawks over the Packers. And that is pretty much this is going to be my pick for Super Bowl 49 here. It's going to be the AFC New England Patriots versus the NFC Seattle Seahawks. That is going to be my Super Bowl prediction right there. Anyways, this is it, folks. Championship Sunday's upon us here. We're waiting to see which teams are going to be in Super Bowl 49. I've already mentioned mine here in this video. So that's basically it. So hopefully everybody enjoys the Championship Sunday. And we're waiting to see who's going to be represented in the Super Bowl. I cannot wait for these two games. And of course, I will be back in 2 weeks to give my Super Bowl pick. I don't do the Pro Bowl because really it's not the playoffs here, so I don't care about the Pro Bowl that much. So other than that, we're all anticipating this weekend's matchup. Not only that, of course, Super Bowl 49 in 2 weeks. Until then, everybody, enjoy this Championship Sunday football weekend, and I will see you in about 2 weeks to give my pick for Super Bowl 49. Take care, everybody,